And honestly, all we do every day is think about how do we help other people have amazing sex with condoms or practicing safer sex.
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from across the entire spectrum of non-monogamy to hear their fascinating stories. We strive to bring guests on the show who have a healthy approach to non-monogamy. However, it's important to remember that everyone does it a little bit differently, and the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect our own.
Additionally, we produce this show for entertainment purposes only. Please be aware that we aren't doctors or therapists. Consult a medical professional for anything regarding your health that you might learn about on the show. Enjoy!
Welcome to Focus Fridays, Season 2, Episode 4. We're Finn and Emma, and today we have an amazing conversation with Milla. She is the Director of Marketing and a Senior Size Specialist at ONE Condoms and myONE Condoms, which are Custom Fit Condoms. And we have a conversation.
They come in different sizes, and that's why she's a Senior Size Specialist.
Exactly. We have a conversation all about condoms.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's super fun. We get to learn why Milla joined and is sort of on a crusade for condoms and sexual health, which is amazing. And just all about the condoms, all about everything condoms. And it's super fun because February is National Condom Month.
Exactly.
So it's perfect timing. And we've given away thousands and thousands of condoms from ONE Condoms to people at our different events and just all over the place. So we're excited to finally have this conversation and sit down with Milla, and it's super fun. So thank you, Milla, for coming on, for all the free condoms, and for being an awesome supporter of the show.
Yes. She is offering us to all listeners 20% off ONE Condoms and myONE Condoms. All you need to do is use the code NNM. That's all capital letters, NNM.
That's November, Mike.
Exactly.
Not M&Ms.
Don't say that. Now you're going to confuse them.
I said not M&Ms. These are not.
Just don't say it at all. You're going to confuse them.
These are not chocolatey treats. They're latex condoms.
Yes, and get 20% off. Go check them out. Before we jump into the conversation with Milla, we do want to remind everyone that we have a virtual meet and greet coming up tomorrow. That is February 12th, Saturday night. We'd love to have you join us. These are open to anyone. You just need to be open-minded and respectful. More information on our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com. Click on the community events tab and you'll find all of the information about signing up there.
No condoms required.
No condoms required. It's a virtual event.
Condoms optional.
That's our tagline.
Condoms optional?
For the virtual event.
Perfect. Yeah. Bonus points if you wear condoms. All right. We need to get into this.
I was going to say, we also have a lot of other events coming up. You can find information about all of those on our website as well. No,
there's one more thing. There are links to all of the resources that Milla talks about, links to myONE and ONE Condoms in the show notes, and the reminder of the code in case Emma confused you by saying M&Ms. You can just go to the website, Normalizing Non-Monogamy, click on the podcast. Oh, man. Normalizingnonmonogamy.com. There it is.
Yes.
I yelled at you last week.
I know. And then you made the same mistake.
Hypocrite. Click on the podcast tab and you'll see the show notes there for all of our episodes, including this one. And all of the information we talk about is there. Check it out.
It's also in your little podcast player.
And reach out to us while you're on our website. Say hello, leave us a message, leave us a voicemail, send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. We respond to all of them. And now, let's go talk about condoms.
Let's go.
Well, welcome to the show, Milla. We're excited to have you here. We've been exchanging emails for years upon years, and this is our first time ever talking or seeing one another. So
I know. It's been a long time.
We're thrilled. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and chat with you.
Yeah, we're thrilled. Do you mind introducing yourselves? We know a bit about you, but not much. And then we're going to jump right into everything condoms today. So We're excited for that.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Milla and I'm the Director of Marketing here at ONE Condoms, where I oversee a lot of our marketing programs, our educational programs. I'm a Senior Size Specialist now for myONE, a title that I actually gave for myself, but I was the very first customer service person at myONE when we first launched it 4 years ago. And over the years, the reason I got really interested in sexual health was when I moved from Finland to Texas as a sweet teenager of year, I was 11 at the time. And then sometime either in middle school or maybe it was the first year in high school, went through some really terrible sex ed in Texas. I mean, like a hour-long course where you're like, I wish that I would have never heard this. Like, this was worse than no sex ed at all. So that kind of sparked my lifelong interest into sex ed and doing sexual health PR for a while. And then eventually wound up at ONE Condoms. And I've now been here for 6 years and absolutely love it. So I'm really lucky to do what I do.
That's
awesome.
Amazing.
Maybe the only good thing to come out of Texas's
sex ed
program is you're here talking to us. We're going to say that's the only thing that's ever come out of that.
That's right.
The only good thing.
The only good thing. Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're doing the work you do, and we're excited to talk to you. We've been promoting ONE Condoms for forever and a day, and the myONE Condoms specifically are awesome. But I guess, do you want to talk a little bit about maybe what sets ONE Condoms apart, and then maybe what is the difference between ONE Condoms and myONE Condoms?
Sure. So ONE Condoms has been around since 2003. And honestly, all we do every day is think about how do we help other people have amazing sex with condoms or practicing safer sex, whether it's condoms, lubricants, we do dental dams. Really all we ever do is sexual health. The ways that we do that is we have technology. So we have a group of condom engineers and scientists who are always thinking about new technologies, new materials to use, new styles to bring to market. So we have some super cool stuff coming out later this fall too that I can't yet talk about, but really exciting. So that product development innovation is really hard of what we do, and trying to constantly, honestly, reinvent the condom and bring something exciting for people to try. We also do a lot of educational work with health organizations, health departments. We subsidize condoms. That's why you see ONE Condoms with the round, fun wrappers, colorful, different designs, all throughout like public health events, LGBTQ marches, all kinds of stuff, because we help subsidize those to the public health channel. And then we also do programs. We do fashion shows where everything's made out of condoms. We have a rewards program called Momentum where people do challenges online, and then we give them points. So instead of paying with a credit card, they can just pay with their points. We do the design contest where the condom wrappers themselves, people get to design, and then they all go to public vote, and then the public designs or decides what's going to be actually on the wrappers. So always trying to include the community of people that use our products, always listening to their feedback. We can't always do every single idea that they give, but a lot of our product development and how we update our products is inspired by feedback from the very people who use them. So that's pretty much ONE in a nutshell. And then 4 years ago, we launched myONE, which is an extension of the ONE brand, which is the 60 condom sizes, 66 in Europe and Canada. But so it's 10 lengths, 9 girths, 60 combinations of those, really to help people who struggle with either condom slippage, or they're too tight and they cause instant erection loss, or what some customers call the red ring of death, where it literally leaves like a purple mark on the penis after sex. Kind of like if you have a rubber band on your wrist for too long and then it leaves that purple mark or the red mark. That's what can happen on a penis if a condom is too tight. So, myONE is all about just celebrating penises of all sizes and making sure that fit isn't, or improper and crappy fit isn't the reason why somebody doesn't want to use a condom.
Right. Yeah. And we're bringing you on, to talk all about condoms, but also because February is a special month for condoms, I guess, out there. And so we wanted to give you the chance to talk about that as well.
Yeah, condom month. It's the favorite month for us every year. February is condom month because it's Valentine's Day. I'm sure that's where it came from. And then February 1st was also Measure a Penis Day. So, which is a holiday that we actually invented because we kept getting so many questions from people like, how do I talk to my partner about condoms? Or I noticed that, his condom is always slipping off, but I don't know how to talk to him and mention that maybe there's a better condom out there, or, somebody doesn't want to use condoms because they're so tight. So the day was honestly just inspired by all these questions that we got. So Measure Penis Day is just another celebration of measuring penises and making sure that no matter the size, people out there can find a condom that fits right.
Yeah.
And have you found that that has cut down? I'm just curious, like the introducing that, like how has it changed the landscape of like the conversations you've seen around it, if at all?
Yeah, it definitely has. So I've talked to people from like 14 years where they're trying to make sure that they have the right condom fit for their first sexual experience, to like people above 80, who say like, for the last 40 years when I was using condoms, I've had to hold on to a condom during sex because it's just too big in length and in circumference to where I had to hold on to it, versus now the confidence that I have because I don't have to do that. Like, instead of my hands focusing on holding onto the condom, I'm using my hands on my partner. I'm focused on my partner and like don't have to worry about, as a lot of people say, the mechanics of the condom and worrying about what the hell the condom is doing. But instead you're focused on pleasure and the fun parts of sex, so it definitely has. A lot of people call it a life-changing product. And I mean that very seriously. We get comments like that, like hundreds of comments a week that people tell sometimes very detailed stories about their condom use and how it ultimately has changed because they're wearing something that fits right. It's kind of like if your whole life everybody had to wear a size 7 shoe. Okay, well, some people would have an amazing time with a size 7 shoe and they'd run the best races of their lives. They'd be out shopping and their shoes aren't pinching. But for some people, they're either always slipping off, or they're just so tight that you can't wait to take them off, or they're so tight that, instant circulation loss. It's just like that. And then somebody said, oh wow, now we have shoes in, all the sizes that they come in, and what a difference that would make for feet everywhere.
Right.
It's the exact same with condoms, where they're like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of people know that penises come in different sizes, and it never really made sense for us to just have 1 to 2 or maybe 3 sizes to begin with. So
Right. You mentioned that it's common that the condom will be too big. What are some other like common fit issues that people face?
So a common issue is like condoms are usually 7.5 inches long. Most penises are like 5.5. So there's that extra latex in the condom that can get super uncomfortable for a lot of people, because most people will roll it down to the base, right? And then because there's like 1 to 2 extra inches of latex, there's more roll. And the more roll there is, the tighter it gets. Kind of like a rubber band just getting tighter. So that's where that red ring of death can come from. And that extra length is really uncomfortable because it causes that tightness at the base. Or what a lot of people do, they kind of hang it off at the tip. But that's not comfortable. That's like wearing a sock that's too big. And you're like, well, I guess this sock works, but it's not comfortable. So that's really common. And then what a lot of those people will do is they'll go and get an extra large condom, because all they know is that the standard condom, it just feels too tight and uncomfortable. But extra large condoms are usually longer and just a little bit wider. So then you have even more extra latex that bunches at the base. Like, it doesn't like help that person at all. And that's why like our widest size in multiple different lengths, all the way from 5 to 9.5 inches long, like are super popular. Cause a lot of people, what they need isn't when they say that condoms are too small, what they often don't realize is that they're too tight in circumference. So, and an extra large condom isn't really going to help that because they're longer, but not much wider. Yeah. So our widest size is really popular. And then on the other hand, also our smallest size, like the smallest size out of all 60 is the second most bought size out of all 60 sizes. Just because condoms are so long for a lot of people that it just makes sense that size would be popular. Plus that our smallest size is 4.5 inches long, which is actually like, then sometimes people have anxiety. They're like, oh, I'm buying your shortest length. Like, does anybody buy this? And we say like, literally, this is the second most popular size. Plus like, 4.5, that's pretty much the average length of a penis. Like, even though it's our shortest size, it's actually super close to like an average length. And like one day we hope to, because condoms have regulations about how long and short and wide and whatever you can make them, just a way to do with the way condoms are tested for safety. But hopefully eventually we can also make shorter sizes, because we definitely know that those are needed as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I appreciate you like bringing that up, that like your most or second most popular is the smallest. And I think I think probably a lot of people like maybe breathed a sigh of relief when they heard that. And I'm curious, what is the most common size?
Yeah.
The most common sizes are widest size and 7.5 inches long. So it's pretty crazy. You know, it's like complete opposite side of our size chart. It's like 7.5 isn't our longest, but it's one of the longer ones, and the widest is really popular, and then also our smallest. So
yeah, well, it's almost like people that are the condoms are too tight in the width found this, and it's like, well, yes, there's like it's so much more comfortable. Why not get those that are wider width? So it makes sense that they're the most common.
Yeah, a lot of people just need more girth, and then less length is common. Yeah, compared to a standard condom, less length but more girth is really a popular trend. But then also our smallest size for sure.
Yeah. We also had a question come in. So we asked our Patreon community if they had any questions for you before this. And one of them was really around like, have you run into a situation where even your biggest condom size is too small? And like, maybe what do you recommend to somebody who's running into that situation?
Yeah, so our longest condom is 9.4 inches long. I've talked to people who are like 10, 11, 12 inches long. So it's gonna an ideal condom fit is one obviously that covers all the way from the tip to the base so that you're fully protected, like your whole shaft, against any STIs that are transmitted through skin to skin contact. But if you have a penis that's 12 inches long, like realistically, you're probably not using all of it in a sexual encounter. Most likely, like an average vagina, for example, is like 3-4 inches long. So, it should be fine, like lengthwise. Of course, it's always best that it's going to cover your whole shaft. So if that's something, or like even if our widest condom still is not wide enough, because that does also happen. Like people just have thicker penises out there than the widest condom that we can make right now in the US. So for them, I often recommend the internal condom, which a lot of people don't know about. As a sexual health educator, I've been talking about it for years and years and years. But so internal condoms are great because they don't have to conform to the penis size, because they get, worn either in the vagina, or they're actually also cleared for anal use too. So, so that's another option, because then it doesn't have to fit a specific penis's dimensions. And in the US, the brand name is called FC2. So
that's what I was going to say. Where can people find those if they want the internal condoms?
Yeah, you can just buy it, just FC2 internal condom, Google it, and like right on their website, they do like direct sales, and you can even get it at some health clinics and through some like health organizations and that kind of stuff. So that's also cool.
Perfect. Well, we'll put links in the show notes so people can find those easily.
Yes.
If needed or wanted.
Do you have, I guess in transparency, we've measured your penis, and do you have tips like for somebody to measure their penis? Because I'm sure there's right and wrong.
A lot of mismeasurements.
Yeah.
Because when I measured, I was 14 inches, and I thought that can't be right. So we went back to the drawing board.
Yeah, it is like, you can tell sometimes even through our data, like when people order their first sample kit, then the next sample kit is like complete on the opposite side of the size chart. And I'm like, clearly on the first round, some measurements were taken wrong. So, I think the first question I always get asked is, do I measure if I'm hard or soft? Mm-hmm. And then I say, well, do you usually have sex, hard or soft? And then they say hard. And I'm like, haha, there you go. So be fully erect first, whether you need, some videos to help, your partner to help, but full erection is the first step to measuring right. And then, we have something called a fit kit that people use to measure themselves. I know there's no video, but essentially it's like a little measuring stick. I'll describe it. But it almost looks like a penis, where there's like a thicker section at the bottom, and then, the shaft of the measuring stick in the middle. But the part where it kind of looks like balls, to be really honest, that goes at the base of the penis. So sometimes people do it the complete opposite way, but we kind of say, put the balls of the fit kit under the balls of your penis, and then you're pretty good. And then if they're using the fit kit, the length is going to be the letter code. So whatever shows above the tip of their penis is going to be their letter. And then on our fit kit, you wrap it around to get the girth code. So wherever there's like an orange line that you match up to another orange line, kind of hard to describe, but We have some educational stuff at myONECondoms.com to help out. And then you just combine it. So somebody could be like an O21 or an M22. Or if, you don't have a printer or don't want to go to your office to print a penis measuring tool, which sometimes people might not be cool with, then you can just use like a regular measuring tape, measure length all the way like right where your balls meet the shaft, right underneath there at that point, from there all the way to the tip. And then circumference is around the penis. So sometimes because we talk about the width, because there's something called nominal width, which is how condoms in the manufacturing process are managed in terms of the actual width. It's the width of the condom when laid flat. So sometimes people, when they measure, they'll measure just like the top of their penis in width, right? And that's not how you measure. You got to measure circumference, and then we help convert that into whatever your width code would be. But circumference for measuring is like all the way around. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it can be hard to like measure together, right? Like that's what Measure Penis Day is even about, is how do you start that conversation? So we asked our customers for their best advice. And I think some of my favorites definitely were, somebody said he brought up like a bunch of different bananas in different sizes to his boyfriend and was like, what does your banana look like? And then that helped them start the conversation about like measuring and like finding the right condom fit. And I think role playing was another fun one. So a lot of couples talked about, or people talked about like, oh, I dressed up like a construction worker and I had my measuring tape out, like that way. So you can definitely make the whole process fun. And a lot of that, the people we talked to, they say that they measured together, or they measured each other, or they had a whole measuring party where they all measured each other. And that's awesome. Like however you want to do it, that's cool. So, condom month, it's condom month, what a perfect time to measure a consenting penis in your life, whether that's on your body or in your life.
And once you measure your penis, also I love those stories, by the way, that's amazing. Once you measure penis, if you want to order, do you recommend ordering that size, or do you recommend ordering like one bigger, one smaller? What's your recommendation there?
Yeah, so we do at myONECondoms.com. You can plug in your measurements, and then it'll have a button that says get sample kit. So we send a sample kit that has the size that you measured, and then another close size that we've determined through like years of data and how people tend to land with their size once they test. So you get the sample kit. We recommend like testing the condom out while masturbating by yourself. I mean, you could have your partner there present, but like masturbate with the condom on to like test the fit first before you like have sex with it, just in case you measured length wrong or girth wrong or something and the fit isn't quite right. Then at least like that's what the sample kit is for, just to like check the size, make sure it's good, test the other size in there. Maybe that's actually a better fit. And then if neither is a good fit, then our team of size specialists are standing by and ready to like recommend another size based on your experience. And then we'll send a free sample kit from there just to help make sure that people get their perfect fit. And once they do, then they can order 12 packs, 24 packs. We do subscriptions where people get discounted pricing. Subscribers also get discounted pricing off our lubricants. So, and then if you're a subscriber, you don't even have to think about buying them. They just show up as often as you want them to at your door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's great advice to practice on your own with your new size, because I think you don't want to go into battle without being sure you got the right equipment. I think that's
That's right. Exactly.
Well, that's the whole problem with like standard condoms.
Yeah.
People are trying to make them work, and they often don't.
Yeah, and I just to clarify a couple of things. So you also have fit kits you can send people that have the measuring tool that you showed us, and we used to have a whole bunch of them that we gave out to people. And then you can print off that kit. Like make sure you print it to scale, and there's some information on your website about how to print that to scale. But you can just measure in inches or centimeters, plug that into your online tool, and it converts it to the letter number code as well. So you don't have to do this via the like official measuring tool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good old measuring tape is good. Or sometimes people only have like a hard ruler, and they're like, well, how do I measure the circumference with a ruler? And then I'm like, you can get like a shoelace or like a piece of paper or string or something and then measure with the string and then use the ruler to measure the shoelace or the string. So lots of ways around like trying to, whatever kind of measuring tools you have at your house, there's definitely ways around, figuring out your stuff.
I appreciate you going into detail on that because I could see that people being confused at how to use a ruler for circumference.
But it's possible.
The one thing not to do is like sometimes we do have like, cause we have chat, and like the chat app that we use, like there's like a section to upload image and they won't let us like remove that. So of course, like people assume that means like, I should upload an image of my penis. And often people will say like, well, why would you have that there if that's not what it's there for? Like, what else will people upload a photo of for you? So, we do sometimes get photos. Often it's by women saying like, I'm going to have sex with this penis in 2 weeks. Like, could you help me figure out a size? Like, without a reference point in a photo, it's really hard for us to, like, unless it's like next to a quarter or some kind of like credit card or something, like it's really hard for us from a photo. So like we always say, or like a lot of people will say like, well, can I send a photo? And then you say like, no, thank you. Like, I'm sure it looks really wonderful, but, measurements that's what we can work with.
Right.
Man, I never even thought of that you spend a large amount of your day looking at dick pics.
Yeah. It's 8 a.m. You're kicking up your computer. You're ready for the day. And you're like, oh, well, there's a dick pic. Like, right in our like support inbox.
Man.
I mean, it makes sense, but like why people.
It makes sense why people would do it. Yeah.
And then you're blaming Texas. Like, son of a bitch, Texas. If you had taught me better, I wouldn't be here.
I would.
One question we get all of the time is about latex-free condoms. And so I wanted to see if you could touch on that.
Yeah, so we get that question a lot too. And there used to be some patent conflicts in the US that prevented new brands from bringing non-latex to market. We are working on some super exciting new stuff around non-latex. So it's not quite ready yet, maybe not this year, but it's something that we're now working on bringing to market because we definitely see the need and there's just not a lot of options on the market. So that's another place where like we see a need, we figure out how can we do it, and then, our condom engineers, scientists go to work, and then now we're just trying to figure out how to bring it all to market. But it is something that we're excited about and definitely hear all the questions about and just jazzed to finally be working on bringing something to market. So nothing quite yet to share concrete, but it's in the pipeline, if you will.
That's super exciting.
Yeah.
A pun adjacent. I like it.
Right.
Pun adjacent. Perfect.
So I didn't mean to skip over your whole blaming Texas for the dick pics thing.
No. We're going to get so much hate mail from Texas. I don't even want to think about it.
I don't know where the dick pics originate from, but I think that they come from most states, or a lot of states. So.
Yeah. I'm sure that, like, from everywhere.
I just find it, and I can imagine for the most part, they're people like legitimately, innocently wanting help, right? And you have to.
No, it really is. Yeah, it really is. They want help. They're like, well, and some people are, because of like stigma and bad ways that we teach sex ed, where like your genitals are dirty and don't touch them, and some people are just nervous about the whole act of measuring themselves. Like there are a lot of people who are not comfortable even touching themselves. So, I could even see that where maybe the photo is something that they'd rather do and send. So I get that. But we do also have, if people aren't quite comfortable measuring themselves and are just trying to figure out how to get a better condom fit, we have one of the 3 options that people can use on the website is a suggest a size tool. So we just ask 3 questions based on previous condom usage, and then we help them get to a closer size. Of course, it's not going to be perfect fit out of 60 sizes, but it'll definitely be a better fit than like what they may have had in the past. And then they get the cute little, sample kit with the fit kit measuring tool, and then maybe that's when if the sample doesn't fit right, then that's usually when people say like, well, you know what, let me just measure and figure this out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You can do it the easy way or the hard way. How'd I do with my pun?
Good job.
Nailed it.
Good job. The puns are good.
Well, I mean, you've shared a lot of awesome stuff with us, and we wanted to make sure if there was anything else we didn't talk about, and then I have another question afterwards. But is there anything?
And I have one more.
Oh, Emma's got questions too. Well, we're not going to let you go quite yet. Do you have any other things that we haven't asked about that you wanted to make sure to mention or talk about?
Yeah, I think one thing is like how we even talk about condom fit. And one of the things that like is my personal thing is I'm trying to stop people and even educators, sex educators. I used to do it because that's how we were taught to teach it. But the whole condom on the arm demonstration to prove that condoms fit everybody. And that's just so negative on so many levels because it doesn't acknowledge the people who like condoms are too big for and they slip off. So those people often assume that they might be the only people who experience condom slippage or like one of the few, and they're not then going to come to the educator and say like, hey, actually condoms always slip off. Like, is there anything that I can do? And then on the other hand, like there's a big difference between an arm and a penis. And I shouldn't have to say that, but you know, an arm has bone in there. It has structure in there that'll hold the condom. And like, even when you put the condom on your arm, it's not comfortable. And I get it. Most penises are not the size of my arm, but still like, it's not comfortable. And when if you leave it on, your circulation is lost. It leaves that red ring behind. Often it breaks because it just doesn't fit right. And then you take that experience on a penis, like penises have to work super hard to pump blood into them to keep an erection. So at the end of the day, yes, a condom can stretch literally over a watermelon, but when you put it on a penis where there's no bone in it, no bone in a boner, as we always say, like it really can cause an instant erection loss or like that painful purple ring. And that's it's a real experience for a lot of people. And that's what a lot of our customers talk about is like, I'm so sick and tired of being called a liar trying to get out of condom use. Like that's not what's happening here. Like I just need something that's wider or longer or smaller or whatever it is. And like a lot of people really want to practice safer sex with a condom, but they just never were able to find anything that fits right because all condoms are literally the same size. So that's one of, I think, my favorite things out of myONE is just like providing another solution to where people can practice safer sex with a condom and it actually feels good. And the condom doesn't feel like it's in the way and it feels pleasurable and it's not tight and constricting or slipping off and whatever it's doing. So I think those stories and just listening and reading the comments, and sometimes they're from girlfriends or wives and sometimes they're from partners or whoever, and just listening to those and what a confidence booster it is. And I reduce my anxiety when it comes to like sex and condom use. Like those are absolutely my favorite things to read. And I truly do believe that myONE does make a big difference in a lot of people's sexual health and how they have sex with a condom. So
yeah,
super exciting.
Yeah, it's super exciting. And you touched basically on my question, which was going to be just around recommendations for people who say that, sex with condoms is not comfortable. It's not, I don't like it. It's not as good with, and so it's, even if they want to use one, it's really hard to make themselves use one, or they lose their erection, or like recommendations in general that you have for encouraging people to use condoms.
Yeah, I think if it's like an issue related to fit, then definitely check out myONE. We send a sample kit, even if you don't like it, there was no harm done, maybe we can convince you that a better fit, hopefully can convince people that a better fit means better sex. And then there's so many different styles out there. I hear it all the time that all condoms are the same. It's just the wrappers that different. It's really not true. And whether it's our products or somebody else's brand, like we just want people to find sexual products that work for them. And there really is differences in condoms, like different manufacturers, different types of formulations of latex, or like what's called the bead at the base of a condom, where, it's like the end of the condom where there's like that. It almost looks like a rubber band at the base of the condom. Like some brands it's thicker, some brands it's thinner. So that can make a difference when it comes to comfort. How lubricated the condom is, and lubricant in general. Like if like lubricant and condoms are legitimately best friends. Like they love each other, and the lubricant helps, reduce the friction. It adds comfort and pleasure, and it really does help also condoms from breaking during use. So I always recommend, like with condoms, even though most of them come already lubricated, to always use additional lubricant, because lubricant is just one of the best products that's ever been invented.
Do you recommend putting it inside the condom before you put it on, or on the penis before you put it on, and then also on the outside?
Yeah, so we recommend, like, before putting the condom on the tip of the penis, to put a tiny little drop of lube in the condom. It can really add sensation at the tip of the penis. Not so much that it causes slippage, right? Because if it's too slippery in there, then you can also have like slippage problems. But just like a tiny drop inside, and then definitely on the outside. There's different types of lubricant, different ingredients. There's water-based, which water-based lubes are nice because they absorb into the skin. So there's not a lot of messy cleanup afterward, but water-based tends to dry out faster than a silicone. Silicone is like super, super slippery. So little goes a long way usually. Ours is called ONE Move, and that's our number one lubricant. Super slippery. Be careful not to like put it on the bathroom floor, because it will make your bathroom floor incredibly slippery too. But, yeah, so that's good. Silicone, recommend like washing up afterward, because silicone naturally doesn't absorb into the skin. And then there's hybrids. Like we have Oasis Silk, which is like a mix of both. So has kind of benefits of both. Yeah. And there's all kinds of lubes out there, flavored lubricants, organic lubricants, all sorts of stuff that people can just find something that works for them.
Is there anything to be careful with around lubes and condoms? And like, we've heard too, right? I think oil-based lubes can break down latex condoms. So can you clear that up for us, just for anybody listening who's maybe not heard that before?
Yeah, so anything oil-based. So sometimes people will use coconut oil as a lubricant, or Vaseline, or anything that has like anything oil-based cannot be used with latex condoms, because the oil just breaks down latex molecules. If you ever want to do a fun science experiment, take like coconut oil and rub it, like put a condom on your arm and just start rubbing it, and you'll see it very quickly start to deteriorate and eventually break. So anything oil-based can't be used with latex condoms, because it will cause latex to break.
Yes, that's a super important note. But all the other lubes, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said you had more questions.
I did, but they're kind of fun questions, and I wanted to make sure we got all the super serious stuff out of the way. The super serious condom conversation.
I was like, the super serious condom.
This incredibly serious conversation.
Hopefully informative.
Yeah, and serious at the same time.
Yeah.
So my first question is more of a like situational. So let's say you are a person who's going on a date with a person who has a penis, and you want to come prepared, because maybe this person, you're like, I don't trust that they're going to bring a condom. Even if you think they're a great person, you don't want to rely on them. So you're going to bring your own stash, and you have to bring 5 sizes. If you were going to pick 5 sizes to bring with you to cover like the most common sizes out there, like what would you pack in your go bag?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, we're working right now on some like samplers, kind of like out of the 4 quadrants, so that people can bring like the long and wide packs and different sizes like that. But there's definitely the most popular, which is the 7.5 and our widest size. I would also probably not maybe the smallest size, but one of the like 2 or 3 in the smaller quadrant, and then also some in the wider. Maybe I can like send it and we can post it. But yeah, there's definitely like, we get this question a lot. So we help kind of people recommend like the top 6 sizes to buy that are like in a region, so that you can kind of be ready and know what to get. Yeah, definitely a few in the widest size, and then a few in like the shorter and tighter than a standard size. And that should have you covered good.
Awesome. We can put a list in the show notes too if you send us a few of a few of the recommended ones.
Yeah.
All right. And my last question, I suppose, if you're able to talk about this, and I don't know if you are, I don't know what the confidentiality is on your support emails, but you said you get lots of crazy condom stories. And I was just curious if you could share one or two of like your like funniest or I don't know, most memorable or touching or inspiring like condom stories. But I don't know if you're able to share that with the general public. So.
Yeah, I think one that comes to mind, I think, he was maybe like 15, 16 and trying to like, he had heard about different condoms and he had actually had like a good sexual health class where he's like, they were told to like try a bunch of different condoms to find what works for them. So he had never had sex before. So he wanted to like try and figure that out ahead of time and be ready, like fully ready for his first sexual experience, which I thought was like the most adorable thing ever. And then I just ended up sending him a bunch of free condoms because I was like, let us just make sure that you're ready. Cause he's like, well, what if I like put it on the credit card and then my mom finds out like what I bought, like, so it was like a whole thing. So I was like, you know what, why don't I just send them to you for free? So you're ready. And you don't have to worry about this whole credit card situation. We ended up like shipping them to one of his friend's house or something. So there was like a lot, where he wasn't ready to talk to his parents, but he felt ready to have sex. So, I thought that one was pretty adorable, very memorable. I always love like the people who are like in their 70s, 80s, they always say, they're like, I don't want to use your website. I don't order things online. So they call and they want to talk to you over the phone. So I had like a few regulars for a while, where like every about 2 weeks, I always expected like a phone call, which was always really nice, same thing where they were like, man, like I really hated condoms forever because they were either this or that or this, but finally like they feel good. And I'm like in my 80s having the best sex of my life with a condom on. Like those are definitely also, always some of my favorites. I did get once asked if it was strange to drink the semen out of the condom once they're done with it. I was like, well, if, there's nothing really, I don't think medically harmful about that. If you want to do that, then that's cool. But that was, I think, the most unique question I had ever been asked. Cause the interesting thing, we, as size specialists, we're talking about a product at the end of the day, product, lubricants, whatever. But sometimes we're the first people that somebody is comfortable talking about sex, no matter what age they are. So often it'll then start to go into more of conversations about like, well, like, what do you think my girlfriend's going to say? Or what do you think this or that or something related? Sometimes they start talking about their divorce or whatever, like start just naturally. I think if you're in a sexual health type of role where you talk to people, anything related to genitals or sex or anything, then people naturally just start to open up to you. So I think that's one of the hardest parts about being a size specialist is like, where do you draw that line? Because we're also not like licensed therapists, right? We're not licensed sexologists. So we have to also be careful about the type of advice we give. And certainly I would love to chat there all day and talk to somebody about their relationship challenges, right? But you also have to find that line of, hey, I'd love to talk to you about this. And we have like a set of resources that we'll recommend where people can go talk more. But at the end of the day, we are talking about like condoms and lubricant and sexual health, but there has to be that line somewhere. And sometimes it's kind of tricky to figure out like how can I still be helpful and not just say, no, I can't talk to you about that, but also recognizing that I am not a therapist.
Yeah, because you don't want to get the email 2 days later. It's like, well, I did what you said, and now we're getting a divorce, and you're like, I was just trying to help you pick out the right size condom. Like, I didn't know I was involved in your.
I know.
You're being like subpoenaed to come into the courtroom. You're now part of their divorce proceedings.
Yeah, exactly. I know I can't do all that.
Right. Yeah.
So that's definitely challenging to like find that line of where you want to be someone's friend and helpful, but you always just can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure. I think the last thing I would say, and Emma, I don't know if you have anything else, but we have a friend. So we tend to be nomadic and this is tied into your story about the 15 or 16-year-old who was ordering condoms and was afraid for them to show up. The comment was, so we tend to be nomadic. We move around a lot. So I know you've sent us condoms to pretty much every state in the union because we're all over the damn place.
We have them sent to different friends.
Yeah, but primarily is one friend, and she's dubbed herself as our condom like receptionist. And she said, I really appreciate the discretion in the packaging because we'll have like 1,000 condoms show up, and she'll be like, I don't have to explain it to the postman or the neighbors or anybody. Like, so she appreciates the discretion in your packaging, the subtleties.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we get that. That's a question we get a lot too. Like, hey, is your packaging discreet? Like, they don't, of course, because there's so many like subscription programs now and the ways that you get like packages, and they have really cool, like the shipping boxes are really cool. And I think people are afraid that they're going to get something in the mail that's like Custom Fit Condoms on the box. Like, no, we don't do that. Like, we totally get why most people would want that to be discreet from their mailman.
With their size printed on the side in like 72 font. Just
it's just a picture of my face. Like, good job measuring yourself.
Or a picture of the size.
I think we should work there. Look at all these ideas we're brainstorming.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
I don't know if they're all good ideas.
Hey, you never know until you try.
Yeah, you never know.
Maybe some of them.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else, Emma, that's on the tip of your mind?
I don't think so. Were you trying to make a pun there?
No. No, don't call me out for that.
I can do that.
All right. How about you, Milla? Anything else that you want to share with our esteemed listeners before we let you go?
I don't think so. If you're curious to measure and find out what size you are and see if a better fitting condom might change your life, then head on over to myONECondoms.com and check us out.
Yeah, and just upload a photo, send it to Milla. She'll let you know.
Exactly. Write to my personal email, please.
There you go.
And I just wanted to comment too. I know we talked about ONE Condoms in general back at the beginning, but don't forget that ONE Condoms also makes a bunch of standard fit condoms and of all different types and varieties. And there's a lot of really fun ones out there.
People love the tattoo ones. I don't know if you get that feedback. People tell us that all the time. Yeah. And the first question I always get is like, does it leave a tattoo on your penis? And I wish it would, but it's ribbed with tattoo designs, which is cool. We also have the glow in the dark where people will play like lightsaber games and stuff, which I think is very cool. So
that's awesome
for all
too.
you Star Wars fans out there, now is your chance to make your penis into a lightsaber.
There you go. Man, well, I'm glad you trained. I was going to give really bad advice, so I won't even say it on the podcast.
Yes. Well, links to everything that we've talked about today will be in the show notes. People can find them there. And thank you so much, Milla, for your time and for all the work that you do as well. We're really excited to get this information out there.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, and happy Measure Penis Day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Happy Measure Penis Day to you.
And National Condom Month.
National Condom Month
That's
as
right.
well. So, all right. Well,
thank you.
Take care and have a fantastic evening.
You too. Thank you so much.
And we're back.
Hey, Emma, question.
What?
Did we nail that intro or what?
No, we did not at all.
Well,
sorry,
at least
listeners.
It took us 5 tries.
We did not nail that intro.
All right, and
but
we're
now
back.
We got to nail the outro.
That's right.
Thank you, Milla, for coming on the show and for all of the amazing information that you provided and shared, and for all the amazing work that you're doing with condoms and sexual health.
Yeah, and for being such an amazing supporter of the show, for all of the free condoms you've sent us, the measuring kits, the everything. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. We appreciate it. We love this partnership, so thank you, thank you, thank you. And hey, listeners, don't forget, if you use the code NNM,
NNM, all capitals,
you get 20% off your order at myONECondoms.com or OneCondoms.com. Again, links to those are in the show notes over at normalizingnonmonogamy.com.
Yes.
There we go.
I think that's it.
I think that is it. Don't forget, tonight, if you're not busy, think about tomorrow night.
I was going to say.
So tonight, if you're not busy, sign up for the virtual meet and greet that is tomorrow night on Saturday, 2/12. How have we confused everybody tonight?
Saturday, February 12th, our upcoming virtual meet and greet. We'd love to see you. If you can't make it, don't worry. We have other upcoming virtual events and in-person events. Go to our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com, to find out more. And next Wednesday, we have our regularly scheduled interview with Brooke. It's going to be amazing. Come back and listen.
And we will see you then.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.